and he died anyway. And we're getting sued by everybody in the world. I mean, it wasn't even our fault, you know. It was actually Finley House's fault. So my husband's probably gonna, you know, in the end, can we pay all that? Probably not. I mean, but it wasn't even our fault. So, you know, it causes people that really weren't at fault to go out of business, you know. Then, in the medical field okay, doctors can't afford to stay in business. If you will look at doctors now, most medical doctors are joining practices so they can get under hospital coverage. My husband's also on the board of Lexington Medical Center. They're taking more doctors and more doctors and more doctors under the umbrella of Lexington Medical Center so they can be under their coverage, their malpractice coverage, because doctors can't afford malpractice insurance because people sue them for anything. You know, if you become a doctor and you're not perfect, you might make a mistake. And if you do, that person's going to sue you and you're going to go, you know, you can't afford it. And you can't afford the malpractice insurance because malpractice insurance is really, really expensive. I'm in the insurance business. Malpractice insurance is really, really expensive. And you could go, you know, you won't be able to afford it. So you're going to have to go work for a hospital conglomerate just so you can afford it. So that's another reason to support tort reform. So doctors can afford to go in business and have a private practice. So, I mean, was that an answer to, I mean, you need to, there needs to be some control over what people can do because people will sue over anything. And it keeps doctors from being able to go in business for themselves.
My name is Kenya, I'm 16, and I want to get my doctorate degree in psychology. Why do some people say that tort reform is our economic engine to put South Carolina back to work?
Well, I mean, like I said, we've got to have, tort reform is what's going to make or break small business, and like my husband's business. We're probably going to go out of business in September. I mean, and my husband's older, so fortunately, you know, he can retire and, you know, life will be all right. For some people, that's not the case. You know, some people can't afford that kind of impact. You know, your insurance is going to go up. We can't, an insurance company doesn't, you know, is not going to continue to pay those kind of claims, and you continue to get insurance, and you've got to have insurance to work. You can't operate a business unless you have workers' comp. I mean, this guy got burned and died. We got a $4 million hospital bill at Augusta Burn Center, and he died. So, you know, nobody wants to write workers' comp. You got a general liability claim because Finley House over here says we worked on it, so it's your fault. Well, they called us over there to work on it after it blew up. So, you know, so you got all kind of claims, so you can't get insurance, but you can't work without insurance. The state says you got to have insurance. So it's like a catch-22. So you've got to have tort reform that says, okay, you can only sue for so much. You know, you got to stop somewhere. You got to put a cap on it. There's got to be some way to control what you
Hi, my name is Alex McGee. I'm 15 and hoping to go into engineering. There's a big debate going on in our state over immigration. Does South Carolina have an accurate way of tracking students that are on our public schools but not U.S. citizens?
I don't think we do. No, I don't think we have a way to track it. I mean, I think we need some way to know, but I don't think we have a way to track it. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good question, but I don't think we have a way to track it. That's something we need to write somebody and ask them.
I'm Nathan, I'm 15, and I'd like to join the Army. There's a mood to reclaim the spirit of America. What are some ways that the Constitution restrains people? Why would the people agree to restrain themselves?
Okay.
How about Patriot Act?
Why would people agree to restrain themselves? I think, I agree that I believe in the Constitution. I believe that, there's certain, you gotta have a limitation on, you gotta have, protect America, you gotta have freedoms. I believe in rights to, carry weapons. I believe, I'm a CWP holder, I believe you should be able to protect yourself. I believe we have too many laws. I believe sometimes we have too much, government tries to take too much control. I believe there's too much government. I believe we're always trying to think of a new law, for something. I believe sometimes we need to, it's like I said, we need to just stand up and say stop. We don't need any more crazy laws. So, I'm a strong defender of the Constitution of the United States. It's there for a reason. We wrote it for a reason.
My name is Ashley. I'm 15 years old and I'm one of my anesthesiologists. Republicans support a state bill that tasks police officers in determining the immigration status of people they stop. The bill will require law enforcement officers to determine a person's immigration status if pulled over for a possible traffic violation or another reason. A driver's license or other U.S. photo ID will meet the requirements. Why is it that racial profiling is okay for the prevention of crime and terrorism, but not in the business world? What would it take to make the government cover more?
Okay, ask me the question again.
The last two sentences.
Just the last two sentences.
Why is it that racial profiling is okay for the prevention of crime and terrorism, but not in its business world? What will it take to make the government cover more?
I don't believe in, I think racial profile, I don't believe in race. I don't believe you should see color. In any thing. I don't believe in racial profiling, period, for anything. I believe in the illegal immigration is exactly what it is. It's illegal. I believe if somebody has a valid ID, that's proof enough, for me. I believe it needs to be a valid ID. I'm trying to rationalize the question, but I don't, I don't see black and white or Hispanic. If somebody's legal, they're legal. If they're not, So I'm trying to rationalize the question, but I don't see that. I don't see color. I volunteer every week at the Department of Juvenile Justice. I do not see color. So I don't believe that there should be. If you're talking about stopping somebody, like the law that they were trying to pass, where you could just stop somebody because you thought they were Hispanic, or you thought they were, I don't agree with that. You got to have a reason to stop somebody. You can't just, stop somebody because you think they look Hispanic, because they're just, I've got for instance, with my nail tech is Vietnamese, and they are giving her one heck of a time at the Labor and License Board up here to get her, because she looks like she's Vietnamese. Her name is Amy Elizabeth Tep. She doesn't say what is Vietnamese, but because she looks Vietnamese, they're giving her a hard time getting her license. I have had to go to bat for her. Now, to me, that's racial profiling. So I have a hard time with that. I've gone over there and fought that battle with her.